At the center of the universe, at the border between the light and the dark, stands Castle Grayskull. For countless ages, the heroes of Grayskull have defended the universe against the forces of evil. Walk through the Hall of Living Pictures and learn the history and mystery of the masters of the universe. Dive deep into the mythology of Eternia, Etheria, and more. For those who know the stories of Grayskull will come the power to be supreme, the power to be all-knowing, the power to be Legends of Grayskull.
Hello everybody, and welcome to episode 1.5 of Legends of Grayskull. I just wanted to pop on and give you guys a quick explanation because we had recorded episode 1.5 and there were some issues with saving of the file and we lost about half of the episode. So what you're about to see is episode 1.5 that we recorded, but only the first half. So we talked about we were going to discuss the Golden Book, the Magic Mirrors. Unfortunately, that is the part that got cut. When I went to publish everything, I noticed that the last half of the file was corrupted. So what we have here is a little discussion between me and Sean about some recent news going on. I decided just to upload this just because we did it. That way there's something. We will get back to the Magic Mirrors because it's a wonderful story. We will not get back to it right away because we don't want this show to feel rehearsed. And if we did it again right away, we have a feeling it'd be too much like we're trying to hit the points we hit before. We like it to feel like you're sitting down with your buddies and discussing some Masters stuff. Another quick note before I start the episode. Thank you all for everybody who's subscribed, everything so far. The audio versions are coming up now. We're on Podbean right now. Spotify is going through their motions of authorizing us right now. And iTunes I am working on because they are very restrictive. I did want to thank one fan in particular, a fan of Masters, Yuka. He reached out to me after we posted that first episode, and I just want to give him big thanks for watching us, and thanks for reaching out. Like I said in the episode, if I get something wrong, let me know. So he did reach out to me with just a couple pointers, and I just want to bring them up here. So when I had said that originally the Mike Young Productions, the beginning was written as 2 parts, and then what I said is that they needed to get to 3 parts for the runtime of the Cartoon Network Cartoon Theater. I was incorrect on that. They did start as a 2-parter and expand into a 3-parter, but that was just because the storyboard artist just went to town on the fight scenes, and they decided to leave the storyboard. Let the storyboard artists have their vision and a big fight scene in the middle. So the essence was there, but I got a little bit of the details slightly wrong. And that was from Dean Stefan. He did the interviews he did on the 2000X DVD commentaries. What else? Oh, the hover discs. We mentioned that they were a nod to the 87 movie. And they were also in Filmation. Like I told Yuka, that was just more, they're really popular from the 87 movie, and the visuals reminded us of it. And as far as the Adam, or the Cam Clark, I have the power sounding like the I have the power, I can't remember where I heard that from. Right now, we're going to treat that as I'm misremembering something because I hated that I couldn't think of the source during the episode, and even afterwards, I tried searching some things, and I haven't been able to find that interview. But regardless, it is kind of interesting that the I have the power and that do 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 do. I know I have horrible key, and I'm talking fast, but it is interesting that theme right there, when you listen to it, does kind of mimic the I have the power. So that's where that is. Thank you. Like I said before, if you guys have any feedback, let me know. We're trying our best to get all our facts straight. Sometimes, you get mixed up with, just it's been a number of years since all this stuff has aired. There's a lot of information out there. I know myself personally, I love to listen to a lot of stuff. Yuka's got some great info out there on his videos, and he's got a blog as well. Tune Yuka, Jukka, if I'm recalling it correctly. If not, you can go ahead and correct me again, and I'll get a link to you on one of these episodes. Thank you to Spartacus McFeely, who was our very first subscriber to the page. We appreciate it. We appreciate everyone who's taken the time to listen, whether you've subscribed, liked, or just listened to us. That's what we're putting this together for. We're just hoping to entertain you. We want to talk shop. We want to hear from you, and hopefully everyone's enjoying this. So, without further ado, here is what I could salvage from episode 1.5 that me and Sean recorded. The video will get a little jerky. The audio is solid up until the last 30 seconds, but it's still manageable, and I left it in because it kind of finishes off the note. We look forward to hearing your guys' feedback, and we will be back with episode 2 soon. And I promise the bugs have gotten worked out, and we will have an amazing episode for you guys. So, until next time. Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 1.5 of Legends of Grayskull, the podcast where we discuss the books, the movies, the TV shows, Filmation, jet lag, new adventures, Netflix, UK annuals, Ladybird books, kids stuff. I'm going to keep going until I run out of breath. Everything that you can imagine with the HeMan, She-Ra, Master Universe, Princess of Power logo. I'm Matthew Dooch, here with Sean Scavarna. How you doing today, Sean?
Hi. I'm doing all right. How are you?
Oh, wonderful. Living the dream.
We
want to welcome you. Hopefully you all checked out episode 1 that we uploaded to YouTube earlier. I'm not going to say exactly when, because I'm trying not to date these episodes too much. We want everyone to enjoy them whenever they tune in. So just sorry about that. So just to remind everyone our format, we're going to do an episode and then an episode and a half a week. One episode will discuss a movie, TV show of one of the series, and then the half episode we will discuss some sort of printed material. Before we get into that, Sean, any news you'd like to bring up? Anything happening?
Honestly, news-wise, it's the typical stuff that we've seen on the groups, but you want to talk a little bit quickly about the new Netflix stuff, or has that been covered enough by other people at this point?
Let's do some brief thoughts. Like I said,
non-speculative, just brief thoughts and touch base on it at least.
Just so everyone's clued into what we're talking about. At last year's, and you already should be, but in case you're not, at last year's PowerCon, Kevin Smith debuted the show that he's running, Masters of the Universe Revelation for Netflix. It's supposed to be a story that takes up where the vintage era left off. Notice it's a vintage era, not the Filmation era.
Yeah, big question mark on vintage and what that actually means to the fan community at this point, I heard. So
yeah, it's tough because the vintage era kind of means something a little different to everybody. For you, it's Alcala Comics and Filmation. For me, it's more Filmation. But I think the main thing they're trying to say there is that this is continuing the 80s. So if it was present in the 80s, there's a chance it's going to be in this. It's not a reboot. It's not a restart. It's okay. Basically, almost all that stuff happened, and now we're into this. That's what I take it as. And then recently, right before Christmas or right after Christmas, they announced that there would also be a HeMan in the Masters of the Universe series.
Yeah.
Which there has been very little detail about, other than Rob David from Mattel is also in charge of this on the Mattel side. Most people have speculated, and those teaser images kind of confirm that it's more of a kids show, a general audience show, whereas I expect Revelation to be more PG-13, They might even push it rated R. I don't think they'd take it that far, but I think they're definitely shooting for a PG-13.
Yeah, the Powerhouse Studios, that's the one animating the Revelation show. Um, they are they're, to me at least, they're more well known for pushing the boundaries especially when it comes to fight scenes, fight choreography, and the violence that they have in some of those shows, like Castlevania. That's pretty much, no holds barred. You're going to see some stuff that would be in a horror movie during these fights, which, as somebody that's watching the show, I appreciate it because it definitely startles you when you see these action sequences and you're like, wow, they went there. And there's even this new show on Netflix. I don't remember the name of it. It's a Spanish name, but it's this kind of grindhouse film kung fu show. And it's these three, if I remember right, Latino characters who were trained under a sensei, and they're fighting this big, watching it just because of it being their show, like Powerhouse having a hand in that. The fight scenes in that are amazing. So, like what Kevin Smith said at PowerCon, they just had me write fighty, and that's it. And I think that's going to go a long way for He-Man.
Yeah, I think it'll be good. Once again, we're trying not to speculate too much because there's really been no details. But yeah, it seems like it's going to be a more mature storylines, and the fights I think are going to top even the 2000X, which I think was the standard for a He-Man cartoon up until this point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think that'll be more episodic and more of a continuing, well, not episodic, more of the continuing story arc like we had in the 2000X. Probably even pushed to the next level because this is Netflix, and unfortunately, they probably will dump an entire season at one time.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what's your thoughts on that? Because that's an interesting topic in and of itself. Not to tangent too far, but the episode dumps versus weekly episodes.
I am of the mindset with a lot of this stuff where this is me personally, I don't get to sit and watch a binge session anymore with anything. That's just how my schedule works.
Same
So
here.
it'll be there when I'm ready to get to it. Whereas I'm going to have to avoid social media because, my wife and I are watching The Witcher. We're, I think, 5 episodes in, and I'm already getting spoilers every time I look on Facebook right now. So,
Right.
I like the idea that they're going to be there and available to me whenever I get to them. And to be honest, with it being He-Man, I'm probably going to make the time to go and invest in watching it. Personally, like Netflix has never been known for they're going to give you one at a time. Their business model's never been, we're going to give you one and the next week we'll do another. The only one I could think of is there was a David Letterman interview series where they were doing that, and I don't know how well that went because I don't think they've done it any other time than that show. So in a way, I kind of am open to the idea of, yeah, it'd be nice to have all of them there ready for me when I'm ready to get to it. That's just me. So
Yeah, I agree on that point. I like the dump so far as, yeah, it's all there. I don't have much free TV time with the kids and everything. I got about an hour after they all go to bed, so I don't really binge watch too much either. But yeah, it's tough avoiding social media and everything.
mhm.
Did you ever check out The Mandalorian?
I have not so far. A buddy of mine's willing to have me come over and we can binge watch it or whatever. And it's like, when do I have time? Unfortunately,
Yeah.
it's like Baby Yoda. That's all I know is Baby Yoda and the Mandalorian. That's all I
Well,
got.
and that's what I was getting to, is that's the first episode, and I won't spoil anything else for you. Me and my wife just recently finished watching it, and she's not even a Star Wars fan, and she enjoyed it. It's a very well done show. You should check it out if you get a chance.
Okay.
But they did weekly episodes. Yes, I
Yeah.
know that's Disney Plus. But I guess my thing is, and I didn't realize it until this happened, is how much anticipation you build.
Yeah.
that way. Like you said, you've got The Witcher, which dumped it all at once, and then you've got The Mandalorian that did week by week. They both came out around the same time. I think The
Mm-hmm.
Witcher even came out a little bit later when The Mandalorian was almost done.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe they might have even been done at that point, because I know I was a little behind even Disney's release schedule.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, The Mandalorian has a bigger presence right now.
Yeah.
Yes, it's Star Wars. I get that that's going to have a bigger one anyways, but I don't know, it just felt bigger.
Mm-hmm.
But there were only 8 episodes in the first season, whereas Netflix usually will release at least 13 or something. And some of the hour shows they might have gone a little lower, but mostly they're a 13 episode season, and it just seemed like it made a bigger impact. I don't know if that's just the Star Warsness of it, or if people really missed that anticipation, that speculation. I remember during the 2000X series, we would speculate wildly week to week about what just happened, what's going to happen. We were very wrong most of the time, but there's some funness in that keeps it fresh, that keeps it in people talking about it over, an 8-week period, a 6-week
Yeah.
period, rather than Netflix seems to be like, oh my God, it's coming. Oh my God, it's here. What's next? And then there's like this just nothing the rest of the time. So I at this point, I might prefer a week to week as far as getting interest in, because I want everything to succeed. You know that I want this movie that's supposedly coming to succeed. I want both these series to succeed, and I think it might stand a better chance that way.
Mm-hmm. It'll be out there in the public consciousness, definitely, if they go that route, because like I've been used to, okay, for 2 weeks people talk about something, and then usually it trails off and there's fan art or something, or
Right.
there's little things here and there. What'll they do next season or whatever? But for the most part, like the way that we've become accustomed is we're the binge society now. So
Yeah.
the fact that we're going old school on something, and it's something that people are enjoying, and people who aren't even fans of Star Wars are jumping onto the Mandalorian series, because it's a different flavor than the Star Wars stuff happening or whatever.
Yeah.
It makes sense. Like I actually was impressed by that business model and how they handled that one, compared to just dump it all on there and then people are only talking for a week or so.
Right.
So yeah, I agree. It probably wouldn't hurt, especially for He-Man, because the whole idea with what they're trying to do is, let's reintroduce this and make it get out there for the kids. Let's reintroduce a whole generation to what we loved as kids. And unfortunately, though, the She-Ra business model was they dumped everything. So that's kind of why I'm like, I don't think they're going to do a week-to-week thing, because they've already done that with She-Ra, and there is a fan base that began because of that show.
Oh, absolutely.
In some ways, I think Revelation might be the one that they should do that with more than the other one, because then that way, if there are cliffhanger endings, the fan community will go nuts. The fan community is already chomping at the bit to even see designs and ideas for this show. Hang on one second. And I love how I get calls in the middle of the podcast. Don't they know I'm busy?
It's funny too, because it was always the opposite when we would go live on Facebook back when we
it
were
would be
starting
you.
off. I would always get the messages, and my screen would freeze up, and Sean would just be there laughing his butt off while.
Well, I'd be like, "Yep, I know what just happened."
Yeah, because it would freeze up, and then I'd come back and I'd be talking, and then I'd come back and just be like.
Yeah, when it comes to this stuff, I think whatever it is that keeps the public's awareness that this is out there is important, because it's such an underground fandom in a sense, because there isn't a media push out there other than the comic books. There's the mega constructs, but it's mostly online, So the idea of bringing this out into the light again and all that, and that's kind of why the new promo, the one for the new cartoon, interests me, because here I am at 41 years old looking at a He-Man cartoon promo and going, I want to know more about this already.
Right.
Like, what's his new costume design? What's this? What's that? And it's like the Kevin Smith one interests me on some levels, and I'm curious how they're going to take the costume there, if they're going to keep it traditional. But
I
this
think so.
new one that just debuted before Christmas, that was like a Christmas gift in and of itself to me, because I'm looking at it going, okay, not only do I have one show to look forward to, I got two,
Right.
and here we are having a new take on something I already know. How are they going to make it new to me? How are they going to make it that my daughter or my son might go, I got to watch He-Man, Dad, and so that's exciting for me on a lot of levels.
And that's where it is for me too with the He-Man and the Masters. In a way, I'm kind of glad that they're releasing a kids show as well, because I think first and foremost, He-Man and She-Ra is for the kids.
Mm-hmm.
I think you can make a show nowadays that will also rope in us older fans, but primarily and let's face it, at the end of the day, Mattel's a toy company.
Mm-hmm.
They are not in the business to make cartoons, to make comics, to make movies, just to tell good stories.
Mm-hmm.
Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying, oh, they're not going to make a good story. They're just going to do a cash grab.
Yeah.
No. They can make a good movie, and they will try to make good series, but at the end of the day, they have to sell the toys.
Yeah.
Because that's Mattel. They are a toy company. Everything else needs to fund that main goal. That's not to say that Rob David is not going to put his heart and soul into it. Absolutely he is. I've read interviews with him. I've seen him talk. He has a passion for it. He honestly does. And so I think that what they do will be good.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, they need to sell toys. So they need to have the kids. Because they need to, I understand adult collecting is a very big market right now. But at the end of the day, they need that mass produced. They need the Walmart, the Targets, the toy aisles in the big box stores. They need that market.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
Obviously, adult collectibles are very high right now. I mean, look behind Sean. No one can say there's not a market.
Yeah.
But a toy company, first and foremost, they need that penetration in the stores.
Mm-hmm.
And like I was telling Sean in private, my older daughter and son, and even my twins are getting much more into it. My older kids especially, they watch the Filmation, because I have it all. Unfortunately it's not on a streaming service right now. Hopefully that'll be rectified soon here. But they love the new Netflix She-Ra. They really get into it. And even when it was first announced they were doing a She-Ra, at the time they asked, okay, well, when's the He-Man series coming out? Because
nice.
to them it's like me. It's He-Man and She-Ra.
Mm-hmm.
I was born in a time where She-Ra already existed. It's always been He-Man and She-Ra to me. It's always been He-Man and She-Ra to my kids. So I was honestly kind of dreading the day that they would see that Masters of the Universe Revelation on Netflix, because I know they're going to put a push behind it. They put a push behind just She-Ra every time they dumped a new batch of those episodes. It was a big top banner. I mean...
Yep.
So I was kind of worried about them either trying to watch it on their own, or I having to go, well, kids, I'm sorry, this isn't really, for you. Knowing what they've already announced, maybe my older daughter, but definitely not my son. He's at an age where I would not let him see something that looks like the level they're going with this.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's nice to have them saying, okay, well, let's make a kids show too, because now I can go, well, ignore that. That's not for you, but they have this.
Mm-hmm.
And looking at, I'm not going to get too far in this because there's really been nothing released. There's been one face shot of Skeletor and a silhouette of He-Man released as far as teaser images. But just looking at them, search online, some people have lightened up some of the features and stuff. You can see them a little better. But even just looking at the shadowy images that were the official release, to me, you look at them and you go, there's no doubt. Even without the He-Man logo at the bottom, you look at them and you go, that's Skeletor.
Mm-hmm.
That's He-Man.
Mm-hmm.
The sword is probably what you see the best. which I can only explain as a cross between the 2000X and the Eternity War, the final sword that split open, which are interesting choices and also not, because, as we mentioned in the previous episode, those are two iterations of He-Man that Mattel owns lock, stock, and barrel. They did not sell off any of those entertainment rights. The more I thought about it, the more I think that might have something to do with it, because they own 2000X fully, and all that DC stuff was just licensed out.
Yeah, I'm of the mentality, not trying to get further down the rabbit hole, but I'm just of the mentality that it's the storytelling in them that I'm going to be excited about more than I'm worried about the character designs. And the reason being is there's elements of what make He-Man He-Man. You need the power sword. You need him to have a chest harness, usually the blonde hair, the blue eyes, and he's got to be a big built guy. Okay, I'm good to go. That image gives me more than enough to go, I felt very much He-Man in that initial teaser. And the silhouette, because they talk about that when you design a character, about the silhouette of them. Does that make them look like a character without having to show all the details? Does it define the character just that much? And to me, that did.
Oh, yeah.
And there's enough difference to what we have been raised on since the Filmation days to make me go, I'm excited for this because I get to see something different. And it doesn't need to be chapter and verse like I grew up with anymore for me, because if that is the case, the line is going to die because there's nothing new to bring to the party. Absolutely. So, for me, just from a storytelling, from a visual standpoint, and even from a toy aspect, I'm curious, what kind of toys will this bring? Are they going to bring toys out for this and Revelation? Are they just going to focus on the Origins line? Who knows? Nobody knows. We're in the dark about so many things with the brand going into 2020 right now. I mean, are we going to, how's the Revelation show going to look? How's this new show going to look? How are the, are there other things, or is Mattel going to say, no, we have Origins and that's it because we don't want to mix the line and all this stuff like we kept hearing for a while, and now it seems like they're willing to go, maybe that isn't such a good business model anymore. Maybe we want to just go a little crazy with this because this is our IP,
Right.
So in that way, it's like Skeletor's got the hood, Skeletor's got the skull. I'm good. Like, whatever else we bring to the table to make it this version, I'm interested to see what they do. So
absolutely. Yeah, they're instantly recognizable. And that's what we talked about last episode. That's what 2000X series did very well. That's what that's what I think this new one's gonna do. You look at these silhouettes and you're just like, that's them.
Yeah.
There's no question about it. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. We'll wait and see. I'm sure a lot more to discuss once some actual details are released.
Or a trailer of some sort, any kind of advertising promo or whatever. That's what I'm going to get into and be like, I don't need to speculate. Let's talk about what we just watched. That'll be a whole episode.